Yo, this is Icicle. I'm going to show you how my live setup works. It's an audio-visual show, usually with MC as well. I've had Skittles and SP at different points performing with me. But obviously in the scope of what we're doing today, I'm just going to focus on the audio, the sound, and the devices that I use. I started playing live on my first album about 5 years ago or so. I wanted to do something different than just DJing. It's such a universal format. Everybody uses more or less the same kind of concept, and there's so much more that you can do with it. You know, I started thinking about doing something live. I started out with an MPC, virus, some other bits of hardware, really sort of hardware-based kind of live show. And pretty soon after, I started using Machine instead, because obviously you have that kind of hands-on approach of the controller, but you also have the convenience of a computer, a lot more memory. Then eventually, I guess, the last tour, I also started using TRAKTOR. So the TRAKTOR D2s here I'm using with stems. So I've got individual level controls for the 4 stems that every stem is comprised of. The stems inside I made myself with the stem creation tool. And the stems are things I create specifically for the live show. The simplified versions of my tracks. If I play this one from the beginning, you can just hear it's just the beats sort of part, bass part, percussion over here, and some other effects, just the beats, bass, whatever, minus the elements I might want to perform live, such as like lead melodies or like percussion loops. So that's like the D2s. I've got 2 of them mapped onto the channel 3 and 4 on the mixer, and then on 1 and 2 I've got Machine. I've got 2 different machines, an MK3 and a Jam. On the MK3 here, I can program in additional percussion, additional melodies, or for instance, sometimes a bass line that's sort of stand out. For instance, I can use the original patches, FM8, Absinthe, stuff that I use a lot in my production. Machine will send the complete controls MIDI to wherever I need it. So using the Machine Jam over here, mostly really as a clip launcher, as like a pattern selector, I have all these different patterns per track. So one group equals a track generally, and then I have different patterns, and depending on which pattern I'm in, automatically the MIDI will be sent to either something like an Absinthe patch inside Machine, or something else, something resampled, or to the MIDI outs ports on there, and then onto the virus, for instance. So just by selecting different patterns on the Machine Jam, I get the correct control here already. Like the main sort of lead sound of that track, which is just mapped to the first pad, and I can play it. So when I'm in the correct patterns on the Machine Jam, then everything will automatically be set up. And in that sense, I can use some of the pre-made parts, but with that flexibility. On top of that, a bit of outboard. I've got the Virus, the Ice Snow here, just for a little bit of, just for the coolness factor. You need to have some hardware, some outboard, and the Eventide space, a reverb. machine, the MK3 over here is kind of linking everything together from Traktor on the one side to all the way to the visual computer, sending out also MIDI information to trigger all the visual parts of the show. They are in sync through Ableton Link, which has just been added to both platforms. So they using a local network. I have the Mac Mini underneath here, and Traktor is running on the Mac Mini. So there's usually, this is also only the visual computer, so it runs both machine and Traktor. Just to kind of emphasize being on controllers, you know, obviously with the controllers you can do anything. You don't need the computer. For control, at least, you don't need it. You need it just to run stuff. And so sort of being here on this side, this is that sort of solid, simple, straightforward, things are playing. And the more I move over to the left, it's the less safe side. That's kind of, you know, the sort of the philosophy now behind this setup. Just going from the flexibility of DJing to full MIDI control of actual synthesizer and some other outboard bits.